And we are live, sir. I'm going to share this to my screen. Oh, why did I share it back to my Tangy Tea? I want to share it to my live. All right, I'm going to give us a countdown and we're going to get started.
Okay.
And Mr. Hudson, we are live. Welcome to Tangy Tea of Life, everyone. We are sitting with James Hudson Jr. for Darlington County Sheriff. How are you?
I'm doing good, ma'am. Thank you for having me on your show.
You're so welcome. So glad to have you back, sharing some more tea with us tonight. Well, myself, Tawan, my co-host, is not with us tonight, but I'm so glad to have you with me. So we're going to just jump right in the interview, Mr. Hudson. Everyone, Mr. Hudson is running, like I said, for the Darlington County Sheriff. And I'm going to be asking him some questions tonight. And if you guys out there have any questions for Mr. Hudson, please feel free to send your questions in the comments, and I will read them off to Mr. Hudson. All right. So Mr. Hudson, remind everyone how long you've been in law enforcement.
I'm within my 26th year now of law enforcement. All of that I've spent here in Darlington County, except for the last 3.5 years I've spent in Lee County.
Lee County, okay. And why did you decide to run for sheriff?
Well, it's always been a passion of mine to run for the office of sheriff. And after watching 2 former sheriffs that I've worked for, I began to understand how it works. So over a period of time, I started preparing myself to do just that. And I have the confidence to do it. I have the skill set to do it, and I have the education to do it. And being sheriff, I can make a bigger impact in the community and give people a voice who don't have a voice.
Yes, 26 years is a long time. So I'm quite sure you've seen a lot, you know a lot. So you definitely will be overqualified for that position, I should say. Let me share a story with you that happened to me like a week ago, recently. So I called a week ago to the sheriff's department because there was a stray dog in the area. And I called dispatch and I told them what was going on. So dispatch was like, okay, well, we'll have an officer to call you. 2 hours went by, 2.5 hours went by, no call. So I was like, okay, well, let me call back to make sure, see what's going on. So I called back, same thing, gave them my information, and they was like, okay, we'll get someone to call you back. A sheriff officer will call you back. An hour went by, an hour and a half went by, and finally I got a phone call. But the question to that story is, how can we, the people of Darlington County, have faith in the sheriff department to protect and serve when it takes hours for a simple phone call to be made? And I know it was about a stray dog. A lot of people are probably like, Veronica, really, a dog? I know there's bigger things going on, but to me, like stuff like that is like personal. It shouldn't take 2.5 hours to get a phone call back. So how are we supposed to trust, the county to help us, even if it was in a different situation, but it takes that long for a phone call to be returned? I'm just saying.
Well, I'm not sure of the circumstances as to why it took so long to return a phone call.
Yeah.
Because most officers nowadays either have their own cell phone or have a departmental issued phone. So unless there was something heavily going on, I don't know why it took that long. But I think that's where the mindset of the officer or the leader of that shift comes in at, to prioritize things and make
Yeah.
sure those things get done. Like you just said, it's personal to you.
Yeah.
So all you wanted was somebody to call you back. And
Right.
so the sergeant or the corporal or somebody on that shift should have been said, "Hey, I'm gonna pick up the phone and call this later." The sergeant should have said, "I need you to make this phone call." He should have made the phone call. But at least it's in the next 15 minutes, unless they had something going on that was more important than making the phone call.
Right.
But as a leader, I think that once I'd have got information that took that long to make that phone call, and then that's where the accountability issues comes in at, as to why it took that long.
Yeah. Like,
And
I mean, I know it was
we
a dog, but
work
still.
on making sure that happened
Uh,
again. It could have happened during that time, though. The dog could have bit someone. Somebody could have hit the dog and tore up their car. So there's a lot of things that could have went wrong. And I think that's, again, it's just the mindset of the officers who are working shifts to answer calls of service. We got to be more people friendly. We got to understand that we are here to serve the public. And regardless of how small you might think that call is, it's still our duty to give the same attention to that call as any other call.
Exactly. That's exactly how I was feeling. All
Yeah.
right, enough about me. But what are some of the things you would like to see change in our community?
Well, the biggest thing I believe needs to change is we need to work together more. The citizens and the law enforcement community need to understand that it takes a village. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take all of us to do this.
Mhm.
And,
I think we're
citizens can't do it. Come and make things happen. And when we begin to do that, then we'll start seeing some changes in our community.
right working together.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of that, once again, I brought this up in the last interview. We see a lot of community action going on right now because, it's election season. So we see a lot of candidates out and about, barbecues, fish fries, etc. Now, how important is it to you once this is all over to stay in touch with the community, making it personal with the people?
It's going to be more important then than it is now, because I have to prove to the people, as you stated earlier, I have to prove to the people that I'm here for them and I'm sincere about what I'm doing. So it's going to be very important for me and my staff and the other law enforcement community to make sure that we are there for the people and serve them to the best of our ability. And that means no hour and a half wait on a phone call, no 30-minute to an hour wait on an officer to arrive. We got to put some things in place where we can show the citizens of Darlington County that we are here and we are sincere about what we're doing. And the most important thing, we know and understand what we're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. So, what is the greatest challenge facing the sheriff's department? And if elected, how will you address that challenge?
I think right now, being an outsider looking in, but also having an inside track on the agency that I currently work at, is retention. And I think that's across the state. And I believe it's across the United States. We have a problem keeping officers because we're hiring more younger candidates now, and they don't fully understand what this profession is all about. Law enforcement is not just a job. This is a career.
Yeah.
And if you're not in it for the long haul, if you don't have a passion for it, then you won't stay. So we definitely gotta work hard and come up with a solution and come up with some reasons as to why, how we can keep these young men and women to stay in this profession. And from what I've seen over the last 10 to 15 years is, they don't want a career in law enforcement. It's almost like a test where we're going to join, we're going to go through all the tests, and then we're going to see whether or not we like it. Well, and by doing that, that puts a strain on the agency, because we need you to stay if we're going to send you to the academy, outfit you in uniform, put you in a car, buy your gun, buy your vest, get you all the training that you need to get started. It puts a strain on the agency when after 6 months or a year they leave, because now you got to do this all over again. And that's just a reoccurring expense that we don't need. So we have some ideas in mind, and there's some other group of people that we're going to be working with to make sure that we can put some things in place and try to slow that down, because right now it's very rapid.
Yeah. And with so much going on now with law enforcement, I mean, if you don't have that mindset of wanting to be there for the right reason, yeah, I can see it's hard to, want to stay in law enforcement. You have to have a passion for it. I mean, I would think, especially these days.
Yeah. You got to have a passion for this profession, because you're not going to make a lot of money doing it. It's going to be long hours. You're going to be away from the family a lot. It's a lot of stress. Law enforcement has one of the highest divorce rates there is. So that tells you a lot about your home life. You just gotta, you gotta have your companion got to be with you in this. And it's a job where everybody's got to have understanding. This is what I do for a living. I enjoy it, and you just got to have a passion to do it.
Right. So we had a question to come up from a viewer, and the question is, why do it take so long for the county to respond for any calls from Lydia? So that pretty much go back to what I was saying about the long phone call, like waiting, responding.
Yeah. Right. Well, I can't answer that because I'm not working that shift. I'm not working in an organization right now. But I can tell you that we plan to implement zones within the county, and the zones will definitely cut down on response time, and it will give the community and the officers that's working those zones an opportunity to get to know one another. So that's the whole intent, is to build bridges. And I hate to hear those type things, but unfortunately they do happen. But there are some things that we can do to reduce those as well.
So do you plan on hiring? Did you say that? Are you planning on hiring more officers?
I plan on filling the slots that are open. Once I take office and there are slots that are open, I plan on filling the slots that are open, and then we have to look at what's down the road. If you're asking, am I planning on creating new slots to hire? We have to look at budgeting, and all those things go through council. We have to prove why we need new slots, which I do believe we do. But at the same time, we have to be able to prove that, because we're going to be spending tax dollars funding. It's going to be the tax dollars money that we're going to be spending. And I'm sure they're going to want to know, why do you need more officers? So that's why it's so important for the citizens of the county to get involved and understand how law enforcement works, what we'd have to do, the things that we are up against, so that when we go and ask for certain things, they can help us convince council to give them to us. But we're just not going to go in front of council and just ask for anything. We're only going to ask for the things that we need.
Right.
Right.
Okay. We have, it's not a question, but a comment more. It says, got my vote, and also my dad, Mr. Johnny Davis, who is 101 years old. That's a blessing.
Well,
101
it's a lot.
years.
That's a blessing.
Right.
Yeah.
So early voting is going on right now in the state of South Carolina. We all know that. Make sure you get out there and vote, people. 2 more weeks less than 2 more weeks, really, until election day. So what makes you the man for the job?
Well, I've been groomed by my previous leadership, not even knowing that I was being groomed for this. But I've always been able to follow instructions, and I like watching other people, and I like listening. So there again, I just watched the past 2 administrations that I worked for on how they've done things. I worked in the county my entire career. I got to learn the people in the county. I went back to school and got my education. I went to about all the leadership classes I could go to. I've been involved in the communities in Darlington County since 1995. This ain't something I just started doing. I've been doing it since 1995. Even before then, we were doing the adopted highway trash pickup with my cousin. You know, he had us out there as young men then doing stuff. We were always taught to give back. So my main reason is I'm more qualified than any other candidate that has applied for this job, that is running for this office. My education speaks for itself. My tenure speaks for itself. The things I've done speaks for itself. You know, I've been in leadership roles before. I ran an agency in Darlington County, which is the Hartsville Police Department. I've been chief deputy at the Darlington County Sheriff Office. I started my career at the bottom, working at the Darlington County Jail. Worked my way through the ranks. So nothing was given to me. I took all the abuse that I could take to again, I've been to most all the leadership classes I could go to. And I've always been able to surround myself with people who cared about James Hudson. And that's what I want to continue to do. So that's what makes me the better candidate for this job is my track record. And I think it speaks for itself. And I don't think, if you look back in history, and I don't know of all the other candidates or all the sheriffs that had this position before, but I'll be willing to say that I'm probably the most person that will walk in the door ready to go and not have to figure out what to do.
Yeah. And I mean, it sounds like you've been in a lot of different departments when it comes to law enforcement. So you pretty much know the ins and out of it all. That
yes, right, because when you work for a municipality, when I left the sheriff office to be chief in Hartsville, I had to make a lot of adjustments because working for a municipality, being the chief, is a different role. Because you have to answer to the city manager, the mayor, council, and the people in the community. When you're the sheriff, you're the sheriff. You don't worry about your job until election time, you know. But in being the chief of police, we always have a saying in our chief associating, we have to worry about our jobs every day because we are appointed as chiefs. So they can come in at any time and tell us, hey, we're gonna go in a different direction and find somebody else. As sheriff, you know, you could go in there and fumble and bumble everything up until 3.5 years and then run again and may win. And I don't think that's fair to the citizens and the taxpayers. If you said you're gonna go in and do a good job, you need to do just that. You need to work your behind off, keep your word, and do the best job you can do. And if you find along the way that you got people around you that are there for the wrong reasons, then you need to start getting those people out and try to find somebody that's going to come here for the right reasons. And those are my intents. If we could take office and I find that there's people around me that are there for the wrong reasons and they're not cutting the mustard and they're not doing the job, then they won't be there long. We're just not going to tolerate it. It has nothing to do with can they do the job, because if they can do it, they need to be doing it. But just to say, well, I'm coming to work at the sheriff's office, I don't want that. I want somebody who's going to understand you're going to serve the people of this county to the best of your ability, to the best of our ability. And we're all going to have the same vision as a staff, as a team, which is serving the people of this county. And we're going to do it right.
Right. Well, I love to hear that, especially after not getting a phone call within 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
We
Yes,
gonna
I'm
get
going back.
we gonna get that right. We gonna get past that phone call. Yeah, we gonna get past that phone call.
Yes. So we have a question here. What are your goals you have in place set for 30 days in office and 60? If you have anything in
Well,
place?
we don't. It's been my position and the things that I've learned through executive training. Um, I think that'd be premature to have a goal set for 30 days or 60 days because even though you have people working there who may not have supported me during this campaign, that don't mean they're bad people, and that don't mean
Right.
they can't work for James Hudson. So my thing is, let's go in, let's do an assessment, and it might take 60 days or 90 days to do an assessment on personnel because some people might be in the wrong place. So you want to get people in the right place where they're best suited at. So in the first year, it's going to be an assessment role. It's going to be getting things right. It's going to be looking at budget, looking at all the equipment, making sure everything is right, the books are right. So the first year is going to be pretty tough. But when that second year rolls around, we should be knowing exactly what we're doing then. Because that's how it was when I made chief. That first year was it was a blur because I was trying to learn what I'm supposed to be doing. But the
Right.
second year, I figured out I need to get some help. So I went out and I got my own mentor team that gave me advice when I needed advice. And I picked people that wasn't going to tell me what I wanted to hear, but I picked people that was going to tell me what I needed to know. So,
Right.
there was some people that told me exactly what I was doing wrong and what I needed to be doing. And some stuff I didn't even need to entertain at all. This is what you need to be doing. So, that's what it's going to be all about, is getting the right people around you, having that advisory committee to help you navigate through some things. But I think it would be unfair to myself and the members of the sheriff's office to put that kind of time frame on it, because I want to give everybody opportunity to say they want to stay or go. And I think once we get there and we tell them this is our vision, this is our plan, this is what we want to do, I think everybody's anxiety will calm down and things will be fine.
Right. Because I mean, it has been known where a new sheriff come in town and just wipe everybody out that was there already and bring their own people in, you
And
know.
I disagree with that method. I don't, I staff wise, most of your staff gonna leave anyway. They're gonna leave with the sheriff going out. But even some of the staff, they have to understand they're not gonna be in the same positions, but there are other things within the organization that you can allow them to be doing. So it's all about having the mindset to understand. Well, I know I'm not going to be a captain or a chief deputy or whomever, but I'll still have a job. Now, that gives them opportunity that if they really want to leave, that gives them opportunity to seek employment elsewhere. But I just don't
Right.
agree with that method of coming in, because those people have families too,
Exactly.
and you want to make sure that you give them the ability and opportunity to take care of their families.
Right. I like that. And is comforting in knowing, okay, if I work in the sheriff department right now, it's comforting in knowing if there's a new sheriff in town that I will have a job. You know, I may not have that position, but at least I will have income coming in. It's not like
Right.
he's going to come and wipe everybody out
Right.
that's here already. So
And
that's
that's
very,
important. Yeah. And
yeah,
if any of those guys are listening, I want them to know that staff wise, you probably won't be a staff officer, but we're gonna try to create something where you have a job if you want it.
right,
So I don't want them to have to go home and tell their loved one, hey, I just got let go today, and it's a new year starting, bills are still coming in, taxes are coming in, and people got to live, they got to eat, and I just think we need to make sure that we're aware of those things, and we try to treat people fairly as long as they let us.
right. Yeah, because that's scary. That's every 4 years.
Yes.
new sheriff is elected, or
Mhm.
yeah, that's scary.
But see,
But
we was when I worked for Sheriff Campbell, we were spoiled because I worked for him for 3 terms, and we never had to worry about an election because he was always unopposed. And then when he decided not to run, that was my first experience of an election when Wayne Bird ran as sheriff. And even though I got an elevation out of that, well, this last election, um, I was I was blessed to be able to land on my feet um, during that time because I found a job because I knew I had to leave.
mm,
So I knew I let me go ahead and get me a job so I can go and be gone when all this take place.
right. So how important will it be for you to have your staff to get out in the community more?
It's going to be very important to have a staff that understands that that's going to be one of my requirements, that they're out in the public when they don't have a lot of administration stuff to do at the office. Um, you guys as taxpayers, even myself as a taxpayer, you know, they're going to have gas in their cars. They're getting paid to work. And so when you finish up at the office or things are slow at the office, then I want you out in the community, stopping at stores and just talking to the people, just riding, roll your window down through the neighborhoods and just wave. Or get
Yeah,
out the car and walk up on the steps and speak to the person that's sitting on the porch. Or if you ride through the neighborhood and the guys are sitting up under the tree, get out of your car and go speak to them as well. You'll be surprised, and I've done this, and I'm speaking from experience. You'll be surprised how much respect you get by doing that.
yes. That's so important, especially these days. Like it's so important.
Yeah, yeah. So that just go all this stuff comes together. So when you have a crime that has taken place in your community and you need some help, now you kind of know where to go. And those guys
Right.
sitting up under the tree, those people sitting on the porch, trust me, they know a whole lot more than what you think. And if they
Yeah,
know you and trust you, they'll tell you what you need to know to solve that crime. But if you don't know
exactly.
anybody in the community, it's hard to solve crimes because nobody's going to talk to you.
Right. You have to build that trust.
Yes, ma'am. You got to build a relationship with the people
Yes.
because they want the crime solved, but they don't know if they can trust you. So you got to make sure that you have a relationship with the public. So when things happen, there's somebody you can go to. Now, I've had experiences where I just rode through the neighborhood, and rolled the window down, and I didn't get any response at the time. But if you ride that block or that neighborhood long enough, somebody in that crowd is going to flag you down and tell you what you need to know.
Yeah.
So it's all about having that relationship with the public
Right.
because they don't want anybody running loose in their community. They want those people off the street.
Exactly. And like I said, with so much going on, you know, with the people and law enforcement these days,
Mm-hmm.
that should be the first thing on the mind of law enforcement is to let me make it right with the
Yeah,
community. Let me build their trust and their faith in law enforcement again, because a lot of people have lost faith in law enforcement.
I
So I
agree.
would I would think that would be the number one priority, you know?
Yeah. Well, there's a problem with that. The public has lost confidence in law enforcement. I think
Mhm.
over the last 12 to 15 years, a lot of things that has taken place in the law enforcement community, whether it's here in South Carolina or other states, has caused a separation. And I don't know when we'll be able to repair that, but we're definitely going to work hard at it here in Darlington County.
Yes. Well, Mr. Hudson, it was a pleasure speaking with you again. I'm so glad you came back to the show. Is there anything else you would like to say to the community, the viewers that are watching? Like I said, it's like 2 weeks away from Election Day, November 3rd. Early voting is going on right now in the state of South Carolina. People, and from my understanding, there's millions of people that already have voted already. Um, I had it come to my phone, the number. I'm quite sure I'm not going to be able to find it now, but it's record numbers of people that have already voted. What would you say to the ones that have not voted yet, how can they get your vote for the next sheriff of Darlington County?
Well, I would say to the people that have not voted yet, or maybe on the fence on who to vote for, just go to our website and look at our platform. Look at my record. I'm a proven leader. And electing James Hudson to the office of sheriff is the right thing to do, because I will work very hard for you. I know how to do that. This is my home county as well. You know, I want to make sure that people are safe, that our kids and our grandkids are safe. We want to give them opportunities to grow up in our neighborhoods and not have to worry about different things that are going on. And I have that understanding. And I know how to reach out to different branches in our organization and get things done. So a vote for James Hudson is a good vote. So I ask you that if you have not voted, tonight is tonight. You need to make your mind up. And tomorrow, go cast your vote for James Hudson. Because be the person who put it all on the line and work for you and work together so we can make a difference together. This is not about me as an individual. I cannot do this by myself. I want you to understand that. But I am willing to work with each and every one of you to make this work. And together we can make a difference. But we have to come to the table together. And as I said in an earlier video, I am willing to stand in the face of the storm. I'll take all the criticism. I'll take all the bashing. I'll take it all. Put it all on my shoulders. Vote me in as sheriff, and I assure you, you'll see a difference in your county. I'm James Hudson, and I approve that message.
Hello. 2 snaps.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Viewers, you heard Mr. Hudson running for the next sheriff of Darlington County. Please get out there and vote. Early voting going on right now in the state of South Carolina. Make sure you head to the polls and let your voice be heard. Get out there and vote, vote, vote. November 3rd is election day. Very important election. Please make sure you get out there and vote. Mr. Hudson, once again, thank you so much for joining me tonight on the T. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you so much. And guys, please, if you have any comments, you can still leave comments. And of course, I'll share the comments with Mr. Hudson after the show is over. Go and subscribe to Tangy Tea of Life YouTube channel right here on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up. And if you would like to be a guest on Tangy Tea of Life, please email me at tangyteaoflife@gmail.com. You can leave me a message in Messenger right here on Facebook. Thank you all so much for always showing love to the show. And until next time, get out there and vote. See you guys.
Go vote.
Go vote.
Go
See you
vote.
guys later. Bye.